Alright, so Street Fighter V. This review, I'm going to go over content before I go over the main, gameplay aspects. To start, so the DLC issue, I'm going to go over real quick. Yes, there's fight money, and yes, you can buy characters for 100,000 fight money, which you can easily earn the first 100,000 through just playing the prologue story mode stuff. But it's coming out every month from March, I believe, till like September, October, whatever, 6 months. 6 characters, once every month. Except at that point, you question, hey, this game came out in February. If a character next month is going to be finished, why not just, have that character in the main game? Like, why is this, like, a month later they're already putting out DLC? It doesn't seem very fair to the person who's buying the game. The content's getting pumped out immediately afterwards that should have just been with the base game that I shouldn't have to spend anything on. It should just, I'm entitled to it as I bought this game. I've given you $60, Capcom, and in return, you're now telling me that here's a bunch of DLC characters that are $5 each that you can get with fight money, which is a fair system, but, I have to put a bunch of time and effort into the game just so you can make an extra $5 if I don't want to. If I'm lazy and I just want to straight up buy the character with my own money, I can, which, is my own decision, but it seems like, hey, that's kind of dumb. Especially seeing as, guess what? The story mode, the whole main story, doesn't come out until June as free DLC. Congratulations. You go fuck yourself, customer. You don't get to enjoy your game. I'm sorry, you wanted to beat the single player? You like single player? Nobody likes single player in fighting games. Nobody at all. Not a single person wants to know the story behind it. I'm not saying, well, obviously it's very sarcastic. I'm not saying, though, this is breaking, seeing as it's free. It doesn't break everything for the game, make it completely worthless, but, it kind of kills the whole, I don't know, the enjoyment for me from the game. I mean, no story mode, a bunch of DLC characters being pumped out like an assembly line, just, one after another every month, that just feel like they should be with the main game. If this game had been out, released in June with all the content that was supposed to be DLC, just put into the main game, I could straight up say that I could justify paying $60 for this game and not feel stupid for doing it. Because then it would be like, oh, hey, story mode's in the game, the challenges, which are locked until March, are already in it, and the first 4 DLC characters would have just been part of the roster, which would be perfect, seeing as there's 10 maps and 16 characters. I feel like you need at least double as many characters as you should have maps. It seems kind of like a good standard to have as a fighting game. Otherwise, it's a little bit kind of like, oh, well, it's not very much. Obviously, some games, it's varying, but with this one, it just kind of feels right to have twice as many. Just seems a little silly. You've got 10 maps and 16 characters. And on top of it all, these characters are really balanced and good. So it gets me mad that, they have 16, they have a huge history, too. Yeah, think about it, this is Street Fighter. There is so many characters they could have chosen to put in this game. And yet they've only got 16 in the base. I know they're adding more and they have so much DLC planned ahead in the future. But it feels like a lot of this, should have been already there to start with. And that's my big issue, really. Capcom is just ripping off its customers. Street Fighter V's gameplay in itself, looking past all of that, is actually very good. It is the smoothest I've seen in the franchise. Very fluid, much more easy to pick up for a newer player, from what I can tell, too. I liked the variety in the characters being improved from a lot of, Ryu clones, which is definitely an issue that a lot of the older franchises people would complain about. I've seen as a small issue, but, a lot of people don't like it, I guess would be one way to put it. They just have more variety, but it feels like they had so many characters to choose from, they should have more. Now, the game itself is relatively balanced feeling. I don't really have a particular understanding of how the current meta, looks in the game, but from what I can tell, it's very balanced. There's not too many characters that dominate over each other. Everyone's kind of relevant still, but that might just be the new fighting game setting in, so it's a little bit too early to tell. The physics kind of bother me with some of the clothing and hair. Sometimes they phase through each other during, animations, which isn't a big deal, but it just kind of seems a little weird. Not really a huge issue, but again, something I noticed when I was playing. But otherwise, I love the gameplay. Fluid, smooth, fast-paced, comparably to a lot of other fighting games. It's enjoyable. I definitely had fun playing it. And, each character is very rich in gameplay. I felt like I was really drawn into playing them, and I wanted to learn more about them, too, which is why I'm so upset about the story mode not being there. Otherwise, it's a pretty solid game for what it has. It just needs more content, and Capcom isn't offering that, which is why I can only realistically say that I can give it like a 7 out of 10 at the very best. It's great, it has so much potential, but it's not using it. Well, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe,